Believe you can, and you are halfway there. Theodore Roosevelt. Chapter 1. The Blacksmith's Apprentice. Eria stood at the edge of the forest, watching as soldiers marched by on the road below. She felt a sense of unease in the pit of her stomach as she watched them, knowing that they were marching off to fight in the war against the wizard Morgath. Eria was a blacksmith's apprentice, working alongside her mentor in his forge. But she dreamed of something more. She dreamed of becoming a knight, of fighting for her kingdom and defending it against all enemies. As the soldiers disappeared from view, Eria turned and made her way back to the forge. The rest of the day passed in a blur of hammering and heat, but Eria couldn't shake the feeling that something was about to change. Chapter 2. The Discovery. It was on a hunting trip with her mentor that Eria discovered the magical sword. They had been tracking a deer when Eria noticed something glinting in the underbrush. She made her way over to the object and gasped when she saw what it was. A beautiful, shining sword, with a handle made of pure silver. Eria picked up the sword, feeling a strange sense of connection to it. She knew that it was no ordinary sword, but a magical one, imbued with powers that could help her kingdom defeat Morgath and his dark army. Eria struggled with what to do with the sword. She knew that if she told anyone about it, she and her loved ones could be in danger. But she also knew that the sword could be the key to saving her kingdom. Chapter 3. The Journey Begins. In the end, Eria decided to take the sword and embark on a journey to deliver it to the rightful heir of the throne. She knew that the journey would be perilous, filled with danger and uncertainty. Eria set off early one morning, packing only the essentials and leaving a note for her mentor explaining her absence. As she traveled, Eria encountered many challenges and obstacles. She had to cross treacherous rivers, navigate dense forests, and avoid deadly creatures lurking in the shadows. But despite the dangers, Eria remained determined and steadfast. She refused to give up, driven by her belief in herself and her cause. Chapter 4. Betrayal. Eria's journey came to a sudden and unexpected halt when she was betrayed by someone she thought she could trust. She was ambushed by Morgath's forces and taken captive. Eria was thrown into a dark and dank cell, her hands and feet bound. She knew that her situation was dire, that she could be tortured or worse. But Eria refused to give up. She used her wits and resourcefulness to escape her cell, slipping through the shadows and avoiding detection. As she fled through the castle, Eria felt a deep sense of betrayal and anger. She had trusted someone who had turned on her, and now she was alone and vulnerable in a hostile environment. Chapter 5. Wake-up Call. Eria woke up in a rush, her heart pounding in her chest. It took her a moment to realize where she was and what had happened. She had been dreaming. The ambush by Morgath's forces, the betrayal, the capture. It had all been a vivid nightmare. Eria let out a deep breath, feeling a wave of relief wash over her. She looked around the small room where she had been sleeping and saw the backpack with the magical sword still by her side. Eria quickly got up and checked the door, making sure it was locked and secure. She didn't want to take any chances, knowing that Morgath's spies could be anywhere. After a moment of hesitation, Eria decided to continue her mission. She knew that time was of the essence, and that every moment counted in the fight against Morgath and his dark army. She packed up her belongings and set out once again, determined to bring the magical sword to the rightful heir of the throne. Eria knew that she had to remain vigilant and cautious, but she also knew that she couldn't let her fears and doubts stop her from achieving her goal. As Eria journeyed on, she thought about the dream she had just had. She realized that it had been a warning, a reminder that the path ahead would be filled with danger and uncertainty. But Eria refused to be deterred. She drew strength from the dream, knowing that it had made her more aware of the risks and challenges she would face. She continued on, her determination and courage unwavering. Chapter 6. A Great Night. Eria finally reached the rightful heir of the throne and delivered the magical sword. Together, they formed a plan to defeat Morgoth and his army of dark creatures in a final battle. Eria wielded the magical sword, feeling its power coursing through her veins. She fought with all her might, driven by her belief in herself and her cause. The battle was fierce and brutal, with enemies coming at Eria from all sides. But she held her ground, her determination unwavering. As the battle raged on, Eria caught a glimpse of Morgoth in the distance. She knew that defeating him was the key to victory. Eria charged towards Morgoth, sword raised high. He met her head-on, a fierce and deadly battle ensuing. Eria felt her arms growing heavy as she swung the sword, but she refused to give up. She knew that she was fighting for something greater than herself. Finally, with one last mighty swing, Eria struck Morgoth down. His dark army scattered, and the kingdom was saved. Chapter 7. Heroic Action. As the dust settled and the battle came to an end, Eria was hailed as a hero. The people of the kingdom cheered and celebrated, grateful for her bravery and sacrifice. Eria knew that her journey was far from over. There were still many challenges and obstacles ahead, and she would need to continue to fight for her beliefs and her kingdom. But she also knew that she was not alone. She had the support and gratitude of the people around her, and the knowledge that she had made a difference in the world. As Eria stood on the battlefield, sword in hand, she couldn't help but smile. She had done what she had set out to do, and she had proven to herself and the world that anything was possible if you believed in yourself. Believe you can, and you are halfway there. Theodore Roosevelt.